Hello everyone, welcome to Learn English with Stories. Today's story is called The Message I Sent to the Wrong Person. Listening to stories is one of the best ways to improve your English naturally. So don't worry if you don't understand every word. Just relax, enjoy the story, and your English will improve little by little. Now, let's begin. It happened on a quiet Sunday evening. I had just finished cleaning my room. The weather outside was cloudy, and a gentle breeze came through the open window. I made myself a cup of tea and sat on the sofa with my phone in my hand. It had been a peaceful day. I wasn't expecting anything unusual to happen. As I scrolled through my contacts, I remembered my cousin's birthday was the next day. I wanted to be the first person to wish them a happy birthday, so I decided to send the message a little early. I typed carefully. Happy birthday. I hope this year brings you happiness, good health, and success. Thank you for always being there for me. I hope we meet soon. Take care. I read the message twice. Everything looked perfect. Without thinking too much, I pressed the send button. A few seconds later, I smiled and put my phone on the table. About 5 minutes passed. Then my phone buzzed. I expected to see my cousin's reply. Instead, I saw a message that made me stop smiling. It said, "I think you've sent this message to the wrong person." I quickly looked at the name on the chat. My heart sank. I had sent the birthday message to a completely different person. It wasn't my cousin. It wasn't even a family member. It was a phone number I had saved years ago but had completely forgotten about. I couldn't even remember who it belonged to. For a moment, I just stared at the screen. I felt embarrassed. I thought about ignoring the message, but that didn't feel right, so I replied with a simple apology. "I'm so sorry. I accidentally sent this message to the wrong person." A few moments later, another message appeared. "It's okay, mistakes happen." I felt relieved. I thought that would be the end of the conversation, but then the person sent another message. "To be honest, your message made me smile today." I looked at those words for a long time. I wasn't sure how to reply. How could a message meant for someone else make a stranger smile? Curiosity got the better of me, so I typed a short reply. "I'm glad it made you smile." A few seconds later, another message appeared on my screen, and after reading it, I realized this simple mistake was about to lead to a conversation I would never forget. I looked at the new message for a moment before opening it. It was short, very short. It simply said, "Today was one of the hardest days I've had in a long time." I didn't know what to think. This was a complete stranger. I didn't know their name. I didn't know their age. I didn't know where they lived. All I knew was that I had accidentally sent them a birthday message. For a few minutes, I held my phone without typing anything. I didn't want to ask questions that were too personal. At the same time, I didn't want to ignore someone who seemed to need a kind word. So I wrote a simple reply. "I'm sorry to hear that. I hope tomorrow is a better day for you." A few moments later, another message appeared. "Thank you. I really needed to hear that." I smiled. Sometimes a few simple words can mean more than we realize. We continued chatting for a little while. The conversation was light and respectful. We didn't share personal information. Instead, we talked about everyday life, books, music, the weather, favorite foods, and the small things that make an ordinary day feel a little brighter. As the conversation continued, I realized something. It didn't feel awkward anymore. It felt like talking to someone I had known for a long time. Before ending the conversation, the stranger wrote, Thank you for not ignoring my messages. I read that sentence twice. It made me think. How many times had I ignored people because I was busy? How many opportunities to make someone's day had I missed? That night, I put my phone away and sat quietly for a while. The entire conversation had started because of one simple mistake. If I had sent the message to the right person, none of this would have happened. The next morning, I woke up and found another message waiting for me. It said, "I hope you have a wonderful day." I smiled without realizing it. I replied with the same wish. For the next few days, we exchanged a few messages every evening. Nothing extraordinary, just simple conversations about daily life. Sometimes we talked about interesting books. Sometimes we shared funny moments from our day. Sometimes we simply wished each other a good evening. Those small conversations slowly became part of my daily routine. Then one evening, the messages stopped. There was no reply. I thought the person might be busy. One day passed. Then another. Then an entire week. I checked my phone several times each day. Still nothing. I started wondering if everything was okay. Had they changed their number? Had something happened? Or had they simply decided to move on? I didn't have any answers. Just as I was about to stop checking my phone, a new message suddenly appeared. I opened it immediately. And what I read completely changed the way I looked at that accidental message. I opened the message immediately. It began with a simple word. "Sorry," I kept reading. "I'm sorry I disappeared without saying anything. Life became very busy and I needed some time away from my phone." I felt relieved. For the past week, I had wondered if something bad had happened. I quickly replied that there was no need to apologize. I was just happy to know they were doing well. A few minutes later, another message arrived. This one was much longer. It said, "Do you remember the first message you accidentally sent me? You said you hoped I would have happiness, good health, and success." At that time, I was having one of the worst days of my life. I felt alone, stressed, and completely discouraged. That unexpected message reminded me that there are still kind people in the world. Even though it wasn't meant for me, it gave me hope. I read those words slowly. Then I read them again. I never imagined that one simple mistake could have such a big impact on someone's life. I sat quietly for several minutes, thinking about everything that had happened. I had almost ignored the reply. I had almost deleted the conversation. I had almost missed the chance to encourage someone who truly needed it. We continued exchanging messages from time to time. Not every day, not every week. Just whenever life gave us a quiet moment. Sometimes we shared good news. Sometimes we talked about difficult days. Sometimes we simply asked, "How have you been?" Those simple conversations reminded me that meaningful connections don't always happen in the way we expect. Months later, I was cleaning my phone and looking through old conversations. When I reached that first message, I smiled. It all started with one accidental text, one small mistake, one kind reply. I realized something important. We often think our lives change because of big decisions, but sometimes life changes because of one unexpected moment, one conversation, one kind word, one message, one choice to respond instead of ignoring someone. That experience completely changed the way I communicate with people. Now, whenever someone sends me a message, I try to reply with kindness. I try to be patient. I remember that I never truly know what another person is going through. A few encouraging words may seem small to me, but to someone else, they might mean everything. Life taught me a valuable lesson that day. Mistakes are not always something to regret. Sometimes they become unexpected opportunities. Opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow, and sometimes opportunities to make a positive difference in another person's life. If I had checked the contact name one more time, this story would never have happened. If I had ignored the stranger's first reply, I would never have learned this lesson. Looking back now, I no longer think of that message as a mistake. I think of it as a reminder that kindness costs nothing, a reminder that simple words can bring comfort, and a reminder that life can surprise us when we least expect it. So if there's one thing I'd like you to remember from today's story, it's this: never underestimate the power of your words. A short message, a kind reply, a sincere compliment, or a few encouraging sentences could brighten someone's day in ways you'll never know. You don't have to do something extraordinary to make a difference. Sometimes being kind is more than enough. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some useful English along the way. If this story made you smile or gave you something to think about, please like this video and share it with your family and friends so they can enjoy learning English through stories too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more real-life English stories that help you improve your listening, vocabulary, and speaking skills naturally. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever sent a message to the wrong person or received an unexpected message that changed your day? Share your experience in the comments below. I always enjoy reading your stories. Thank you for listening. Take care, keep practicing your English, and I'll see you in the next story.